If you load it up big, you better clear the rest. The solvent list takes away all my stress. Life's been feeling like kind of a mess. I'll never let a hater make me think less, because everything before this was just a test.
Bagsy Chronicles.
I'm riding, all the homies with me. Yeah, we've been getting hella faded. Just like our eyes, we be staying low-key. Vibing out, oh, we're staying medicated. I'm riding, all the homies with me. Yeah, we've been getting hella faded. Just like our eyes.
Hello! Welcome back to the Bagsy Chronicles. I am your host, Uncle Dig, and as always, it has been too terribly long, but as a small recompense for that, I have an extra long, chunky conversation that I had with Higher Peaks from Oregon Rooted today. So look forward to us and having about an hour and 30-minute conversation about everything from Measure 110 to backyard growing weed and what meth smells like. Uncle Dig's garden update. Hello, it is the 15th of May, 2024, and it's time to start hardening those outdoor plants off, and if it's not time, it will be within the next week wherever you are. So that's pretty exciting. I am dealing with heat in my indoor growing spaces as I try to get everything ready to harden off. And I am in the process of soaking autoflowers for germination outside. And I'm hoping to have 10, but if that doesn't work out, we'll go from there. So let me update you first about each thing I have going on in each container, like each tent, and then what my plans are for the future. So first of all, I hope to grow 10 autoflowers outdoors, and I hope to grow 8 photoperids outdoors as well this year. So for the photoperiod grow, well, and let's talk about the peppers. I hope to grow about 7 to 9 pepper plants. I have 5 Hungarian black pepper plants that germinated and are doing very well. They're in the 4x4 tent in the garage. I have 2 jalapeno starts that are already outside. And I hope to get some purple serrano peppers soon in start form to start putting outside from a friend. I'm going to spray the ever-loving crap out of them because I'm pretty sure said friend has mites, but I really want those peppers, so we'll see how it goes. So in the 4x4, unfortunately, only of the 11 seedlings of the Maruf or Aga Red that I started from Red Scare Seed Company, only 3 of them are left. 8 of them showed male, so those are dead. I'm not looking for males. And due to some really ravaging heat issues and some overwatering, I slowed down the growth a little bit. Hopefully, they'll recover quickly, and I'll be able to clone in the garage. I'm really worried about heat, and I may not be able to keep anything inside just because I usually clone in my garage. We'll see how it goes. I still plan on taking cuts and trying to keep something indoors, but time may not be on my side. Also in that tent, I have 5 feminized cannabis seedlings. I have 2 CBD Dutch Treat and 3 If I Can Turn Mac Pine from Gem Seeker Genetics. I also have the Hungarian black peppers in there. Now, in my studio, co-located here with me, I have 2 2x2 tent. One that's actually like 2.25 and tall, and then one that's a 2x2 that's just much smaller. In the smaller one, I don't have any plants currently, although I do have 4 containers that are waiting on 4 feminized super skunk. This will be the latest I have started outdoor seedlings in a while, but by far it is not too late. You can do it basically until June. And I've germinated autoflowers in June, no problem. So I'm going to try to get those super skunks because I thought I was going to have more indica indica plants than I do because I usually expect like 50-50 male, female, but this time I was just really unlucky. It just happens sometimes. It's not a big deal. It's no one's fault. That's why a lot of people like feminized seed. But some seeds are not available, feminized Afghan land races being one of them. Now, in my larger 2x2, I have a planetary gas autoflower from Gemseeker Genetics, and it is cruising right along. It's past its first 21 days, and soon it's already starting to flower, showing female, looking good. I look forward to getting weed from her in under 2 months, probably sooner, as the last ones ran about 77 days. So we're almost halfway there. So that's pretty exciting. Also, let's talk about the autoflower grow outside. I filled 10 3-gallon smart pots outdoors with some recycled soil from last year, and I'll amend as necessary. They won't need much getting started as seedlings, and then I'll amend at 19 days, and that'll keep them well on their way. Now, right now I'm soaking some seeds. I'm not expecting all of these seeds to work, so some of them may not germinate, and I'll be filling in the holes. It's just part of why I'm starting a little earlier than I normally do with the autoflower germination outdoors. I'm doing 4 CBD crack from 420 Fast Buds, and then I'm also doing 3 crystal meth from 420 Fast Buds, and these will probably be the last 420 Fast Buds that I grow. I'm also doing 1 bean of planetary gas from Gemseeker Genetics, 1 bean of Blue Eyes White Dragon from Gemseeker Genetics, and 1 bean of Jesus Christ from Mosca Seeds. And I'll keep you updated on that grow. I'm hoping to release stuff a little more frequently. We'll see how I do. That's it for my garden update. And growing weed in your backyard really is the best way. Let's do it. Compared to some of my peers, I've noticed, like, I've got bad acne, but I've stayed the same weight, more or less, where everyone else has generally gotten bigger, and I've stayed, just sort of vaguely fat, which is perfect apparently.
Yeah,
I'm cuddly. No, just fighting the same 10 pounds for.
You got the dad bod without having the kids.
Yeah,
that's the best part.
Yeah. It's nice. It's a decision that we've made, and we're so far very happy with it. It's not even like, I don't know, having kids is a complicated decision for everyone to make.
It is. It was made for me.
Yeah, that'll happen sometimes.
All right, so this is Higher Peaks. We're sitting down together, me and Dig. I would say welcome to the show, but it's not.
Yeah, it's kind of a combo episode today. Yeah, we're doing a combined episode. We're going to record one file, and we're going to air it on each of our podcast feeds. So you'll get a Higher Peaks Oregon Rooted cut, and then you'll get a Dig Backseat Chronicles cut on my feed.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, it'll be a fun time.
Originally, you wanted to stop by and sit down with me to have an episode, but man, I think this is better.
Yeah, this works better. My mixer quit, folks. We had some technical difficulties. If I had a Patreon, I'd be plugging it right now because, oh boy.
Yeah. All right, well, do you want to start with the questions you had, or do you want to just go into what's in my head?
Well, let's start with you. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I think we talked about it just briefly beforehand, but I did want to touch on 110 because of Oregon.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'll just outline it real quick. Basically what happened is 110 and 109 both were measures that legalized hard drugs, small amounts, and that apparently failed. Now, with that said, they have put through another bill that got passed that's going to nullify that. And Kotek, or is it Kotek?
I think it's Kotek, right?
I know, I'm joking.
Oh, okay.
So Kotek signed that, passed it. And so now, it's September 1st of this year coming up is going to be the illegalization again of hard drugs.
Are you telling me it is the summer of love in Oregon? Just one more
this
again.
This is it, man. You got to go out hard.
Everybody come to Oregon. I'm kidding. Please don't.
Yeah.
You do you, but please, pay in advance.
Yeah. That's the thing. You got to do it, man. But I don't know what that's going to look like. Now, do you want to start with your opinion on this?
Well,
because we always differ. So
Yeah, we do have a different opinion. I think a little bit. I think we agree that it was maybe a good idea in theory for sure. I would like to see them try a little harder and a little longer before they throw the baby out with the bathwater. I think the powers that be in Oregon definitely set this measure up to fail to some degree. Also, it happening at the same time as the COVID-19 kerfuffle. It's hard to say, which is what and whether causality, because like also around in this local area, you cannot forget the fires the year before, or the years before that caused a crazy and obviously caused spike in homelessness initially. So it's just, there's been so many factors that are going to cause people to use drugs on the street in Oregon, in rural Oregon, and also in Portland, that I think if we were going to give this an honest go, we needed to give it longer than 2 years or 3 years or whatever it's been. But people are looking for any solution at this point to the problems that we're having in our streets. I don't think that recriminalizing drug use is the right answer, but it's an answer that people are comfortable with, they're familiar with. So that's what we're doing. That's kind of how I feel.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. And here's why I agree with that. And this is it. It coincided with three things. That measure when it passed, it coincided with COVID.
Yeah.
It coincided locally in the state, well, at least in Southern Oregon with the fires and stuff, displaced a lot of people. It also coincided with the fentanyl rush.
Oh yeah, that stuff.
So that was a huge one. Now, and then also, here's a fourth one really. It also kind of followed defund the police. So what happened to Portland? This is what happened to Portland. They defund the police. Police don't do nothing anymore. Then you got all the homeless problem that happened. Then you have, then you got COVID.
Yeah.
And then you got the fentanyl crisis. Okay. So all that mixed in with legalizing drugs was fucked. I think that the fentanyl crisis is the biggest one because that's what affected everybody, all these overdose deaths. And that's why they wanted to switch back after off 110 was because of the overdose deaths. Well, that fentanyl crisis is still going to be here even when it's illegal, man.
I just don't think locking up people is going to fix what's happening. And
it's going to fill up the jails again.
Our jail's already full. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And of course, Southern Oregon is so funny, right? Because like people have the thin blue line flags, they have the blue light on their house, right? And I don't necessarily agree with that position, right? However, when it comes time to build a new jail, everyone's like, no.
Yeah.
Everyone's just start flying their anarchy and libertarian flag. Like, but what if I get pulled over on the way home from 4th of July? Fuck that.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep. That's what happens. And I'll tell you, if the one thing that they didn't do that the whole measure was supposed to be about was they were supposed to take a certain amount of money, a big chunk of money, I believe it was around 20 million, 25 million, and put that into recovery centers. Now, I don't know about Northern Portland, but I can tell you in Southern Oregon, zero change.
Nothing. They didn't do any recovery.
There was no extra help. There was no free help. There was no, and I can tell you from personal experience, because during those 3 or 4 years, that's when I went through my recovery.
Right.
I quit alcohol and I had to go to recovery. Well, here's the deal. I had to fight to go to recovery. I had to fight.
Yeah.
And I had to find a place and I had to do all this stuff. Now, that was just an alcoholic. Thankfully, I had the gumption and a clear enough head to do that. But you take a fentanyl addict or a heroin addict, you can't make it that difficult for someone to get help. And that was the point of the measures, to make it very less difficult.
You're homeless with no vehicle, addicted to Fent on the streets of Medford.
Yeah.
Now, we've got a great treatment place for you to go to in Eugene. You've got to
Right.
provide your own health insurance and transportation. Where did that money go? I don't know, but you got to pay for it.
Well, see, and that's the thing. So that never happened, and it never got itself a chance to work the way it was supposed to.
And that's kind of why I think we need to give it more time, and we need to really try. That's what I mean by actually trying. I feel and honestly, I think there's an element of this that whenever any drug is legalized, the state's like, okay, and then they put out a bunch of stuff for you to trip over.
Right.
when they're legalizing it, and that's kind of what Oregon did. And along with the attitude in some part, and really only in Portland and maybe Eugene, that's anti-police. The police in the larger cities in Oregon sense that attitude, and they've been doing slowdowns, policing slowdowns for a long time. Combine that where if you want to be a cop, you probably don't want to be a cop in Portland, honestly.
Fuck no.
So they can't. They have the positions. I think they have the money historically, but they don't have the personnel available to work. Why would you go work in Portland when you could go work in Jackson County, where everyone could be on your nuts and your money goes further?
Yeah.
Or you could go give the same guy on fentanyl a citation and maybe give him some Narcan 5 minutes later when he nods off. I mean, and I don't even think the police should be doing that. I think we should have used that money to set up some sort of social work fent ambulance, or not Narcan ambulance. You know what I mean? Like, some harm reduction
like specific stuff.
Yeah. And really try to do harm reduction. Let's try it. We've tried police for ever to solve drugs, and they haven't done it. They've made some things worse, and they've made some people money. And I think there's got to be a better way. And, why not find it in America? we make the best drugs, or import them.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I don't see where it's going to go except for fill up the jails and cause more. Essentially, it'll fill up the jails, and then those people will be let out anyway.
Well, yeah, because because it forces the issue. There's not enough room, and let's not go down the private prison thing in Oregon. It's really bad.
The rabbit hole.
But they don't do it in Oregon, and they shouldn't, but you have to pay for jails, whatever. It's a whole nightmare. And all of our state prisons are overcrowded. All of our county jails are overcrowded.
Yeah.
So when they have a decision to make, do I hold on the guy who doesn't have a penny to his name and is addicted to fent, or do I hold on to the guy that killed someone?
See, that's or even violent, any violent.
Yeah, totally.
So just harassment, assault, any of that's going to stay in there, whereas drug people are going to get kicked out anyway.
Yeah.
And be back on the streets buying drugs, doing fentanyl, overdosing, the same shit that they're doing now.
Yep.
I felt it disturbing, though, when I was trying to get help. And shout out to Phoenix Counseling. That was the only place that I could get help that was not only covered by insurance, but that even had any available slots. And then also, like you said, there was no employees. They didn't have enough counselors. And so...
No, you got to go to school for that. It's a lot of education.
It is. Up to a 4-year degree.
Yeah.
That's nothing to joke about. They do get paid well, though.
Yeah.
So there's that. But I do think it was a failure.
Yeah.
But it will make drugs go up in cost. So you better get them this summer.
Oh my God! I'm sure they're already marking it up. It's in everything. Listen, if you're thinking about trying street drugs these days, maybe wait another 10 years and see how it plays out, because Lord knows.
Why can't we just stick with weed and psychedelics? Can we just do that?
That's what we should just all be Oregon sober.
Isn't there
mushrooms?
Oregon sober,
Oregon
baby?
Sober. Yeah, a little mushrooms, a little weed. Calm down.
Yeah, coffee.
I don't need anything that's been processed more than 3 or 4 times. Let's calm down with the bath salts and the cocaine and shit. Like, what the fuck?
Right. I don't know why you need that shit when you got all the goodies already.
Listen, and you can get a different experience off of different cultivars of cannabis, and there's different psychedelics, different strains of mushrooms, and
there's different types of psychedelics.
Yeah,
like mescaline or LSD, disassociatives like ketamine.
Oh yeah. Salvia for those of us that grew up in the real prohibition towns. Like, so we can't get real drugs. We're gonna drink bottles of Robitussin and smoke salvia. Yeah,
dude. Well. But you know how that is.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love it. I won't do it anymore. I got in trouble last time I went on a salvia bender.
Okay, because the last time I talked to you, and it's been months, is that you said you might do it again.
Well, yeah, but I did.
You did. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Well. So I have some. So this is where we get into psychedelics and body chemistry, right? When I was younger, first of all, I was of a lighter body weight, so there might have been something to do with it. My brain's different now. I've had different psychedelics. I've been exposed to different things. Also, I think the stuff I bought was maybe a little old, but it wasn't quite as potent as I remember. So it was disappointing in that way. And I didn't remember how much, you get a little headache afterwards. I forgot about that.
Oh, of salvia?
Yeah, there's
Okay.
a little. I feel like I get a little bit of a headache, but that's also because you're smoking like dried, like Lord knows what, sprayed
Yeah.
with salvia juice.
Sure.
So like I don't know, like yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe don't smoke salvia, kids. But if you want to, I'm not going to tell you not to. I am of that generation for sure.
Well, maybe it'd be best to just like grow your own salvia bush and then just make it yourself, like dry it and know that it's organic and pure.
Yeah, maybe. But then I just smoke a bunch of salvia. Like, you can't. I can't. Like the only thing so far that I've actually been able to like keep around and not just like if I have weed, I'm gonna smoke it. But like I've had mushrooms that people have given. Like you've shared some fruiting bodies with me. I still have them.
Yeah.
And that's been almost a year. I looked up that you could keep them for like 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, they don't really, if you keep them well, out of the light, out of the oxygen if you can, and in a decent temperature, they should last a while. They might not look good, but they'll work just fine. I'll tell you this. Most people that use mushrooms, even recreationally, don't buy them a lot.
Yeah.
See, I don't think people realize that, like, when you say, oh, yeah, well, people buy mushrooms and stuff. Well, yeah, but like twice.
Yeah, like
then you got it. There's, and then they're done. There's psychedelics are that way. They'll reset your ass and then you're done.
I feel like if a lot of potheads, a lot of people who consume cannabis like me, if they can, like, I'll grow. Like this year I went a little nuts, but I'll grow whatever I grow outdoors, and I'll smoke or give it away, all of it. Like I'm like
You'll smoke it. Don't lie.
I'm trying to be a good role model. Yeah, I smoke almost all of it. I mean, I give it an ounce here or there, but yeah, like smoke 5 pounds over the winter.
I know. Fuck.
It's a new record. Well, I grew 5 pounds, so
no, we talked about this on an episode that never got released. And here's the deal: you told me that this is before you were growing mass. You're like, I just want to get to the point where I've grown 7 pounds and I've got 5 pounds to smoke and blah blah blah.
I was there,
and you did it,
fucking rippers,
right? But you still had enough. You had 2, 3, 4, 5.
I had 5.5 pounds.
Okay, and yet you still smoked it all.
I love smoking weed so much. It's so great. Everyone should do it. Maybe, I don't know,
dude. You're not a grower if you're not at least throwing away a pound every
throwing away.
Then you're not a grower, man.
I'm not a grower then. I'm just a pothead who likes to garden then. I'll tell you what, because I've never thrown away weed. No, that's not true. Okay, so I'll tell you the one time I threw away weed. I was in my apartment.
Remember that shit you gave me, Craig? I threw that shit away.
No, I smoked all that shit. I smoked all that shit fast too. It's embarrassing how fast you're like, here, 2 ounces, that'll last you a while. I'm like, yeah, thanks. A week.
Next week.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, it's gone. No, don't tell him for a while that you smoked it all. He'll be able to look at you like it differently. But no, because I like, well, and there for a while I was rolling those 3 gram doinks and taking those to the dome and just like.
How'd you get through them? Like, I'd set down halfway and then wouldn't go back to it.
Well, I used to be a swimmer. I think that's part of it, and I play harmonica. So I think a lot of people's lungs, like, they'll just quit after a while.
Yeah,
but mine won't. It's gonna be great when I'm older. I'm gonna have like the best lungs.
You're like, I'm high. Should I smoke more?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that used to be my tagline. Was like, you can always smoke more.
I can't. I do admit there are walls, man.
No, I have a wall. So I got into this bong ripping contest a while ago with this friend of mine on Instagram. I've had her on the show once, Melanie. Mel. She goes by Mel Forrest. And Mel Forrest, there we go. I got her name out. Oh my God. Forgetting people is not good. So we did a little live bong for bong rip contest, and I got through a quarter plus an eighth of really, like,
so 3/4 of an, no,
3/8. So a quarter plus an eighth.
Oh, I see. 3/8. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, 3/8. So I smoked 3/8 through a bong. Yeah, through a bong in like an hour and a half. And I tapped out on her. She beat me. She smoked me under the table. And what's funny is she's like a little person. Like she's under the threshold. Like she's like a tiny little woman. And
I think it's more of how you metabolize it than it is your size.
Well, I think there's a pain threshold thing to it too.
For women.
I honestly, I do. I think like with certain kinds of pain, like women can just tank it in a way that maybe men can't. I'm not sure. It's a theory. Could be wrong. But the only people that usually can smoke me under the table are like tiny little women. So like, I'm not even joking. I think, okay, it's going to be a dude like me with like a barrel chest who has like a lot of expiratory bottom, like volume. Maybe he plays woodwind instruments and like cannot stop smoking constantly. Maybe that it's always like little mother 3 posting on the porch. Oh yeah, sure. Let's try it. Let's see how much I can smoke. Fuck. And those Canadians, they can do bong rips like nobody's business. She's Canadian. That's another thing. The Canadians do big bong rips in a different way. You start getting like following the Canadian like there's like a whole like group of them on Instagram that you kind of find your way into if you start following them. And they do like crazy soul crushing bong rips.
Yeah. I can see that. Probably some Amsterdam rips. So I was going to ask you too. So what are you going to do this season? I mean, you did a shit ton, but you got jacked last year.
Yeah, I got jacked. My last 2 biggest plants probably got taken. I probably got took like for like 3 pounds, maybe 4. Like I was going to clear my goal.
Well, welcome to Growhood. I want to welcome you into the Real Grower.
Oh, thank you.
Association. Dude, you had to get ripped off once.
Oh yeah. It had to happen. Oh my gosh. After that accident where that lady took out my fence and the whole neighborhood saw.
Oh, God, that was it, huh?
Oh, I think that's why like everyone's like someone new. I'm like someone you know. I'm like, no, you don't understand, man. Every tweaker in my neighborhood saw what I had back there. I don't need to start like looking at my friends weird. Trust me. I think I look at the cops that responded to the DUI crash before I look at like my homies at this point. I got paranoid too, and I have like PTSD, so I'll go out into I was like, baby, this fucking pig stole my weed, and she's like, honey, if the pigs want to steal weed, they're going to steal it from out in the hills, and they're going to take 40 pounds. They're not going to go after your 3 pounds. Shut up. Like,
well, and
it was tragic, man.
Yeah, the reason I think a lot of people say it's a friend because most of the time people have tight security.
Yeah.
And only the friends know.
Right.
But in your case, you're right. You did have a lost fence. So
yeah. Like I had it, honestly, you couldn't see it from the road because I had like plantings along the fence that were poking up over it. And then it was way back. It was blocked out by a cherry tree. You actually had to look from like 4 feet, like you're riding by in a car, to see it without the fence there. But without the fence there, it was wide open.
Yep,
just opened everything up. It was rough.
So, well, now this year you got the fence.
Yeah, I got the fence. I've got cameras. I've got some other stuff.
So, probably just nighttime you got to be worried about.
Yeah. They hit me at real early morning last time. I think it was probably about like 3:30 or 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
I think so. And I think they got interrupted by my wife letting the cat out because they left a branch in the middle of my yard. So, and my cat was going off. She was like, meow, meow, trying to wake me up. So I feel bad because I could have caught him out there, but maybe it was good I didn't. Cause like how I felt when I got ripped, I probably would have shot somebody.
Yeah. Well,
and I don't know if I should shoot somebody over some plants. I used to say it. What?
If they're on your property.
They are. Yeah. They're on my property.
I mean, you can shoot at them.
Yeah, just I don't shoot at people. That's the problem. I'll probably hit what I'm shooting at. Probably. I don't know. Maybe I can put a couple into the cherry stump just to scare them off. But anymore, the Rippers got guns too. Hell, I don't know. Hopefully I'll gab at them through the camera or whatever, and they'll leave.
That's good.
Well, and like I said, we've got other stuff too. We got other fun stuff. I'm gonna. Some electrical stuff. I might make the yard like do a little hostile architecture, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. There's some interesting things you can do with fencing too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, on your fence. So.
Yeah. I have to be careful though, because I've got like, I don't like the neighborhood cats coming into my property, but I also don't want to like zap them. So I'm thinking about like height and stuff, and like really thinking about like. So I think I'm gonna make some trellising that's hard to see.
Well, I mean, this is a good subject to kind of bring up for outdoor growing since we're going into that season. I'll tell you one of my things that I like to do that is cheap and it actually works very good. You have to be home though, but what I like to do is go down to like Harbor Freight or a place like that and pick up those driveway sensors.
Okay.
They're like $15.
Okay.
And they'll shoot 20, 30, 40, 50 feet and with the straight laser, right? So all you do is I buy like 4, right? And you put one in each corner of your yard facing that way, right? And so you got a perimeter. And so if anybody crosses that perimeter, ding, 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 ding.
Oh, and it makes an awful noise.
Well, you can make it loud, quiet, whatever, but it's basically a doorbell for you. And you'll know right the fuck away for pretty cheap. And if you only got a couple ways into your backyard, you only have to get a couple, right?
Right.
But yeah, they work great. People don't know they're there, and they cross that barrier, and it's alarms. So those work good for me. Again, you have to be home, though.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I was home when they got me. That was frustrating, you know. It's like
no noise.
They were quiet.
Yeah.
And one of my buddies asked me, like, "Do you have dogs?" I'm like, "No, bro, I don't want dogs. I've got chickens." Like, I'm not like the world's best dog trainer where I'm going to be able to train a dog not to go after their dogs. Love getting into chicken coops. Like, it's the best thing that could ever happen to a dog is to run around killing chickens. They love it. It's the best.
Did you have like a motion sensor light or anything back there?
I had a light.
Was it on?
Oh yeah, it was on. Brazen.
Yeah, that is. I'm just trying to think of things that are.
The fence, I think, is going to solve the problem, 90% of the problem, because they're going to have to either get over it or get through it.
Right.
And then I'll probably hear that.
Yeah.
They didn't have anything to like. They literally just had to walk it. So all I had some. I didn't leave my yard wide open. I put 6 or 8 foot T-posts with privacy netting, and I zip tied that too, so you couldn't see. Mm-hmm. But it had been open for like a few hours, so everybody who needed to see it seen. And you know, they just came and clipped those and just walked right through it. Didn't make any noise.
That fence will make a difference.
Yeah, I honestly think part of the problem was I was just easy prey.
Yeah,
easy to grab, and I bet you where they took it, they didn't even process it right.
Oh God, no! You lost 3 pounds and they wasted it.
Yeah, they didn't smoke any of it. Not right,
dude. How can you be a ripper and then go? What are you going to go back to your cure fucking room that's all set up for curing? No, you can't even afford to grow weed, let alone cure it. So what you're going to do is hang it up in your fucking bedroom, jerk off to it. It's going to be too dry, and it's ruined. That's
so sad.
Anyway, so what are you growing this year?
I'm growing right now. All I've got going is one autoflower, which is a CBD crack from a CBD green crack from 420 Fast Buds, just a standard auto, because I've only got like 1 jar of CBD left, so I want to have a little bit more until I do finish my outdoor for the season.
Well, that's what I meant. That's what are you doing for outdoor?
Oh yeah, and that'll go outside probably while it's flowering. I've never done that with an autoflower, so I want to try moving one outside. So I'm going to do that with that one. So I'll probably move it out in May when it's like kind of in the middle of its thing and see if it like shocks out or what happens to it. So it's kind of an experiment. And then I'm doing my first not my first pheno hunt or my first sex, but my first time where I'm trying to keep a plant indoors. I've got some Afghan landrace seeds they're a preservation from Red Scare Seed Company. It's called Aga Red or Maroof Red. And I've got 13 of those going. I actually got all 13 to germinate out of the pack.
Oh, cool.
Some of them are a little weird looking, and I might kill them, but I'm going to give them I usually give the seedlings like a week to straighten themselves out.
A little mutated or?
Yeah, the cotyledons and the first leaves are coming out looking a little mutated. Sometimes that's a pH issue with my water, and they'll sort out. But I don't pH my water, and I'm not going to start. So if they don't like it, they can just fuck off.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm lucky. My water comes out at like 6.3, dude.
Yeah, I haven't pH'd my water in a while. I think it changed on me last year a little bit.
Hey, that can happen too.
Yeah.
People don't realize that, but your water pH can change.
I think it's a little better in the summer, honestly, than the winter. I think there's more flow through the pipes or whatever. So because because everyone's watering their lawns and they're using more water in the summer. So I think the water's a little better. And I know that a lot of people around here grow cannabis with the tap water. So there's no, I know this isn't why, but Oregon doesn't have fluoride in its water. So you don't have to worry about defluorinating it.
Yeah. The only thing, chloramine, I think, is the only thing that I would check. But again, in our area, dude, it's nothing.
Yeah.
We really, honestly, for
really
city
lucky.
water,
Yeah.
we've got decent city water. Is it good? No. But is it decent city water? Yes.
It's not going to make your plant freak out on you.
No. I've been using city water for a decade.
Someone asked me recently, like, do you bubble your water? Do you off gas it? But I'm like, nah, straight out of the tap onto the plants. And they're like, I'm like, bro, I don't know. I'm not in Chicago. It's fine.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's the point, man. Yeah, our chlorine levels are actually really low, but I don't know. So you're going to go for your 5, 6, 7, 8?
I'm going to go for 8
And,
outdoors. So
yeah.
we'll see how many. So I'm going to sex these. I'm going to take multiple clones of each one when they get big enough. And first I'll figure out with one set if they're male or female. And I'll do those in little pots that I put them in from cloning. And those will just get discarded after I find sex. And then I'm going to flower a bunch in 1 gallons from there after I've culled. I don't know how many I'm going to have. And from there, I'll decide which one I'm keeping inside. And then the rest of the females will go outside, and then I'll plug in the holes with a CBD cultivar I grow every year called CBD Dutch Treat. And it's just seeds. I keep growing the same feminized seeds, and they're all pretty similar. So I've been happy with that. So I've just been growing those for CBD. And then I have some other feminized seeds I want to try, and it's just basically going to be dependent on how many holes I have. If I have like 2 holes available, I'll probably do 1 of 1. I have a feminized seed from Gem Seeker Genetics that I'll do in my photoperiod garden. It's called If I Could Turn Mac Pine. He's bred Mac with, I think, Gills Nils, so it's going to be a piney Miracle Alien Cookies, and maybe that's what Miracle Alien Cookies is missing from me.
I see.
So I'm thinking about that, and then I have a super skunk that I got from like ILGM that just kicks ass outdoors. It just grows big indica donkey dick floppy colas. I just love it, and it's impervious to pest, except it got aphids last year, like the last week, but it was still fine. It's some of the best outdoor indica I've grown in a while, so I'm gonna grow that again.
Nice.
Just another seed of it. Most of the stuff that I grow from a seed that I've done more than once, I grew it more than once because it was pretty bulletproof. Mm-hmm. And I do the pheno hunts with the photo periods, and then I don't really do one with feminized seed. If I get a female, which I'm gonna usually, I just grow it out, and it's usually good.
Yeah.
I think we've come a long way in like having like real winners, like maybe not like, one you'd want to keep around forever, but really solid one and done feminized seeds where if you grow a seed out from this, you're going to get solid mids or better every time. Yeah. Which is awesome. I understand that it wasn't always like that. So I kind of came in right when the blessed times kind of started with genetics.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time in the early 2000s getting stuck with shit genetics, and it really is hard for a grower to only have access to that. Yeah. It's a lot different now, but back in, especially in the 90s, like if you didn't order from the back of High Times or whatever, or know the people like DJ at that time, then you didn't get fucking good genetics. It was all shit.
You saw some of the bag seed I grew early on.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's night and day. You can get pick seeds out of a commercial strain that someone botched and grow amazing plants from that now.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're not too picky about what you're going to get.
Right. This year I decided to go with Capybara Farms. It's an Oregon State farm, and it's up north a little bit. But I got a Georgia pie, and the reason I got that one, have you ever had that? Have you smoked it?
I think maybe. I don't think so.
It's a good gassy strain.
I've seen it in the dispensary, but I don't think I've smoked it.
Yeah. And then same with that soap. There's 2 different kinds. There's Zope and soap. I don't like the Zope.
I've had that. I don't think I've had the soap.
Yeah. Soap is Kush mints times, I can't remember. Anyway.
It was another mints. Animal mints, maybe?
Something like that. Anyway, I'm going to do a whole bed. Here's the deal. I've spent the last few years experimenting with those beds, and I've had up to 4 plants in each of those beds.
Yeah.
Dude, it's just too much. So this year I'm going to put just 2 plants in the bed, bring them in a little bit from the ends, put them in just 2 plants in one bed. And then because I'm starting early and they're already sexed, those are already sexed. So they're basically out there now. I'm going to trellis those early on and just make a carpet. Just
There you go.
2 plant carpet from one end to the other and try to keep it below 6 feet. But I'd really like to see if I can.
You might as well put those T-posts in now.
I will.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I did last year and I fucked that up. I put those in after the fact, and then I also, what do you call it? Didn't do you saw what happened? I didn't put up the trellis early enough. Fucked up my plants, although they made it and it was still good. It just, those go in immediately. I'll have the trellis up so it'll grow right into it. But I got to keep it under 6 feet, man. But I want to hit 2-pound plants. I've been growing the shit out of 1-pound plants, but I want 2 beasts under 6 foot tall, man.
Are you just doing those 2 photos?
No,
you're doing, what else are you doing?
So this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start, I got like 5 packs of Atlas left.
Oh, for the autos.
Yeah. And so I'm essentially now, I'm going to plant here in April, basically in the next few days. I'm going to plant on each big bed row that I have on each side of the bed. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. I'm going to layer out, 10 and 15 gallon pots. And just
Is it warm enough yet?
Well, like I said, it's going to be sometime in April.
Oh,
here.
okay.
I mean, by the time I get to it and actually have them in the ground out there, it's probably in some sort of like cup greenhouse.
Okay, perfect. I got you.
A little cup greenhouse
Okay,
like you do.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
I'll start them in the beds, cup greenhouse. By the time they're out of that little cup, it'll be May. But
Totally.
I'm going to run the shit out of them and just get all of those seeds done. So I'm going to have a shit ton of fucking autos I got to deal with. But I'm going to follow up with 2 plants of photos in each bed. So 6 photos.
Nice. I'm gonna grow autos too. I've got. I'm just growing the ones that didn't get eaten by caterpillars last year. So a couple of them on the main colas.
Yeah.
I had to cut off a little bit. It wasn't too bad, but a couple of them didn't get any.
And you're like, I'll stick with those.
I'm like, so I'm gonna run. It was kind of an ugly plant while it vegged, but then it flowered out great. It was Jesus Christ from Mosca Seeds. So cheesy, so good. It was like,
like funk cheese?
Oh yeah. And a weird sativa leaner too, like a perfect like funky cheese to go on a hike. I'm gonna grow like all the rest of that pack, and I've got another strain from that's also a sativa called Crystal Meth, and it kind of smells like almondy, weirdly enough. And
Interesting. Like sounds good though.
Oh, it's good, and it's also a sativa, so I'm growing those out mainly for my partner, and then I'll plug the holes because usually when I try to germinate autos outdoors, not all of them work. They seem to work a little better indoors. I'll have some germinate, some not. So I'll just start going for those. And if I don't get so I'm going for 8. And if I don't get 8, I'll keep going until I fill up all 10 of my fabric pots. So I'll have like a staggered harvest of autos, probably starting in July and then going through September, and then it'll be my photos. So I'll start small harvests in the late summer. That's what I like auto flowers because I'll probably go through all of the indoor autos I just grew by midsummer, so I'll need more weed.
Yeah. You need your 7 pounds.
I need 8. I think I would like to have 8 pounds on hand.
For the winter.
For the winter, yeah.
Fuck it, man. You're the only grower I know. Like most growers I know that grow year round.
Yeah.
Always have an excess of weed.
Yeah, well I do right now.
Even if you give it away and do all that shit, you still have an excess, right?
No, I'm a crackhead.
No, not you. You're the grower that doesn't have excess, even though you're growing a shit ton.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. It's so stupid. It's dumb. And I used to get embarrassed because I grew 2 pounds the first year. I grew 2 pounds and I smoked it all in the winter.
Dude, that should the normal person would make that 2 pounds last a year.
Yeah, that's what most growers even they only smoke like 2 pounds a year.
Yeah.
And I thought it was bad when I was smoking I got it to an average for a couple of years. I was smoking like 4 to 6 pounds a year. Just my household. This is my household. This is not just me. This is also my lovely blushing bride who's also smoking some pot, but it's mostly me. It's mostly me.
Yeah.
It's mostly me. Well, but it's fun to smoke weed. What can I say? And the outdoor stuff tastes so good, and you can roll it in big joints, and no one's there to say, "Hey, you should stop." So you just keep going. Just keep smoking.
Yeah. I just can't imagine. I have jars and jars that I have to burn every year.
Don't do that. I'll help you. Whatever you need. You need help with just trash. I got you. I can burn it for you. Just like 1-2 grams at a time. I got
I'm
you.
gonna have to take you up on that offer.
I'll do it, dude. We'll sit here. We'll have a party. We'll get one of those raw bats. Those 1 ounce things. People keep talking like, oh, we should smoke a raw 1 ouncer. You know, the big. And I'm like, okay, let's do it.
You
I'll
have
go
to
buy
hold
it.
them like a
Right.
cock, though,
Yeah.
Because they bend. But
Right. Yeah. But no one actually ever comes through because like I'm about it. Like, all right, let's schedule this.
You can buy them, right? Like
Yeah,
Amazon
but I'm
or
not gonna
something?
do it by myself.
That's what we should do.
Just do it.
Yeah,
You want to
we'll do a joint like that
on the show.
while we're burning in my fire pit.
We're not
We're
gonna-
burning pounds in the fire pit. We'll get the whole neighborhood smoked out.
No, you do that with your trim. So I did the trim in my fire pit one year because I wanted to see how big of a So there's an episode on my podcast called Howling Scythian Stoned. Well, the Scythian, the horse archers from back in the day, the warriors, they used to get high by throwing like stacks of just like dried out flower and leaves on pyres and then building a tent over it and all hanging out, getting their smoke on like by just breathing it in. So one year I was like, I wonder if I can kind of replicate that. So I threw a bunch on my fire pit and let it flare up and then tried to breathe that. It just, don't do that. But anyway, you know.
Make you gag and choke.
Yeah, I got shit though.
Did you? I'm doing it. Fuck
Dude,
it.
you know what you do? I figured it out. So you siphon it with a bong. I think that's the move. So you throw
You just put the bong like into the
literally
smoke
into
and
the
just-
smoke cloud and just
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
that way it cools it off because that's where it got me. It's too hot.
I was actually thinking like inhaling the smoke with like one of those old school. What's the big tubes they used to call them? Where it was just a big tube and it was like a
chillum?
Well, yeah, that's a chillum, but chillums are small. But like I can't remember what they called them.
A reed?
There was I can't remember what they're called, but they're big glass tubes, and you'd have a bowl on it, and you'd hit it, and it would fill. the
Oh,
whole
a steamroller.
steamroller.
Yeah.
I was thinking about using a steamroller to get that smoke.
I was hitting that THCA down in Texas with a little steamroller with a little robot on it. It was cool.
Did you want to talk about that?
Yeah, we can talk
badass-
about some of it.
well, that badass experience with what Delta 8 you said?
Okay, so
How strong is that, bro? Did
Listen.
it put you down, man? Yeah, I heard
Listen.
that stuff is crazy.
you folks in illegal states without plugs, I feel sorry for you. Now, listen, I'm a big proponent of CBD, and I did smoke CBD joints while I was in Arkansas and while I was in Texas. That's no fuss. That kind of smells like a cigarette anyway. No one's going to hassle you over that generally. I did try some Delta 8 while I was in Arkansas. I didn't try any while I was in Texas because in Arkansas it wasn't really that potent. It was kind of like what's that thing, that hemp that kind of gets you sort of. There was something else that was going around.
Hemp, huh?
Yeah, but it's like a CBD or like a kind of a hemp high, but like a little bit more potent. Like if you eat like a crap load of CBD gummies, like enough to make yourself sick, you will get a little high. Kind of like that, like a real light, like a.
You're like, I was dizzy, man.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like I mean, and it did help a little bit with anxiety, but where the money is, honestly, if you're not going to get real weed, because this is all
Yeah.
whatever. It's not fake, but it's not real.
It's not THCA.
Yeah. So that's the THCA bud, the THCA like pre-rolls and bud that I got in Texas. I got this at this little shop. I'll tell you where it is. It's off of Gosling Road in Spring, Texas. I can't remember the name of it. It's like on the other. It's like in a little shopping area, and there's a gas station. Anyway, I should have like looked up what it was, but I went in there and I bought like a 1/4 ounce of this THCA flower that smelled like solid mids. They called it Purple Punch. That stuff was not as good as regular THC weed, but it definitely had a medical effect. It definitely did help me somewhat with my like aches and pains. It didn't really touch the anxiety the way I wanted. So I think that's where it falls short. I don't recommend it if you can get the real thing.
Yeah. Well, isn't it expensive just like regular weed? Like
It's more expensive than anything I would. Well, so here's the thing. If you're in a place like Texas or Arkansas, you're going to pay a premium because
Yeah.
you're doing something that's not. It's not. We don't do that.
right.
It's a different vibe. Like, even if they legalize it in Houston or Arkansas, I don't think they're going to have a dispensary next to a dispensary, down the street from a dispensary, across the street from a dispensary.
Yeah.
And all the potheads sort themselves out culturally to each dispensary. Like, you know which ones the bums go buy $1 pre-rolls, and me. And then you know where you know we take our girlfriends to buy nice weed, and then you know where the weed that we can't afford is, and then there's La Mota, and I don't buy from them. But whatever, you know. It's not La Mota's fault. It is.
It is.
People told me to stop talking shit about La Mota because I'm going to get myself in trouble, and I can't. I'm incapable.
I think you can talk shit. You just can't. You can't defame.
Right. And yeah, I got nothing bad to say about anybody who works there. I've known people who work there.
I mean, how do you defame a company that's already in litigation?
Right. I mean, it's like, are y'all listen? I don't have a lot of money, La Mota. You're going to get me for not much. I'm gonna put it that way. Like, I got some weed. I got a pound of weed at the house. You can have that. You want to sue me?
They'd probably take it.
They would, right? Turn it around and sell it.
They would. They'd
Be
put
the
it
best
in
weed in
dollar
their store.
Oh my God. That's what I'm gonna start doing, is start rolling my weed up and just start handing out dollar joints to the bums on the bike path.
Dude, I had a buddy who was like talking about having me come and rolling a bunch of those like doinks, and then he was going to go sell them at the college near him. And I was like about it. I was like, dude, yeah, I'll sit there. I'll roll for a couple hours. You can pay me like $2 a doink and I'll fucking bounce. And then I'll have paid for my trip to where you're at. All good.
Dude, that's where the psychedelics are at, man. College campuses.
Fuck that. But see, I don't want it. I'm not a drug dealer. I can't do. I'll come roll your joint. Leave me out of it. I'll come trim your weed and then leave me out of it. I'll come work on your farm. Leave me out of it. I don't want to know why everyone at your farm is from one neighborhood in South Philadelphia. I don't want to know that. Just let me come trim and then leave. I don't want to know. And that's never happened. That's an example.
You're a drug doer, not a drug dealer.
That is right. It's all getting vacuumed into this mouth right here, sir.
There's doers and dealers.
Yeah, so I grow because I love the cannabis plant. I love the cannabis plant.
Absolutely.
But I also grow because I like to smoke a hell of a lot of cannabis plants.
Well, yeah, and I do like that. What I like is it's free. I like it better knowing I have it and can use it.
Yes.
Than I do necessarily using it. I mean, there are times when I have friends over, we sit down and smoke, smoke all you want. But I mean, I know I have it, right?
Yes.
And so you're like, I have that. That's just better.
So whenever I have like right after the outdoor harvest, and I usually have when I have like 2 pounds on me, that's where I like to live. When I have 2 pounds in my stash, locked away, in the dark, in the cold, just waiting in case I need it. That's what I like to have. But if you grow it as quick as you smoke it, you're only going to have so much. And I think eventually, this last year was kind of a rough year. I think maybe this year I can outstrip myself growing to smoking. We'll see.
The only thing I hate is trimming. And anybody that says they like trimming either hasn't trimmed enough or they have a girlfriend.
I hit a wall this year finally.
I don't like trimming.
I'll come help you though.
It almost depresses me. I've had years where I literally was so fucking lazy on the trimming that I didn't trim the weed until I actually was going to smoke the weed.
I have a buddy that just cures his weed in totes now. He never trims it. You'll get there. Give it another 10 years. It's
still good?
Yes. So remember that Jaeger?
Yeah.
So that came to me in a bag that he pulled out of literally a tote. And then I took it home.
Does he hang dry and then put it in totes?
Yeah. He hangs it. It's completely dry.
Hang dry and then tote.
And then they tote cures.
Yeah.
And then when he's ready to smoke it, he takes out a giant donkey dick of Jaeger, trims it, and then puts it on the rotation place, and they pick at it.
Yeah.
And I think it's an older weed guy thing, because like I said, he was the guy I used to go trim for. Fuck, man, I'm forgetting everyone's name today. I got stoned today. Like I said, it's Texas and Arkansas's fault. I couldn't smoke 4 blunts a day, and now I can't handle my weed. Legalize it so I can stay comfortable, please. I will spend way too much money on weed in your state. Are you kidding me? Listen.
You can't travel, man. And you won't take Oregon weed with you.
I'm too scared.
Yeah.
They broke me in Texas, man. I'm not brave enough. I might take it. One day I think the next step is a cart. I think I'll take a cart, but it'll be somewhere where it's already legal, like Missouri or something, and I'll do that. And once that works, then I'll escalate.
I do know of a friend, or not a personal friend, but of this person that did that moved states, moved from Oregon to, I don't know where it was, but it was still an illegal state. They might have had medical weed, but it was still an illegal state. The thing was, they worked at a dispensary here. So when they quit their job and were going to move, they bought a bunch of product from Oregon here.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, though, it's all packaged.
Oh, no.
So they take boxes of this stuff to the new state where they're moving because they want to have some stuff to smoke there, right? Until they can get settled and find a dealer and stuff like that, because it's a legal state.
What a fucking nightmare.
So they bring this box of prepackaged cannabis to this illegal state and get caught, pulled over.
What in the fuck?
That is more than just
That's possession with intent to sell.
all that packaging, man.
25 to life.
No, I don't know what they got, but
Oh my God. Are they out?
No. She's still in jail.
Oh,
I think it's
motherfuck.
around a 7-year sentence, but this
Jesus.
just happened recently, and all they were doing was just transporting it to have it for personal where they were at until they.
So
But I'm like, dude, come on, that's fucking foolish.
So like, right. So like when I tell, like, dude, I have an acquaintance who got busted coming across the border of Texas and El Paso with what he called CBD cream, but it was homemade. So it had a shitload of THC in it too.
Yeah, because you don't know, you can't
Right.
just test
And
it.
he was
at home.
lying. They knew he was lying, so they tested it, and he fucking basically skipped bail in Texas. It's a fucking whole thing. But yeah, I'm like, in Texas, in certain places, they'll nail you over a roach, bro. They don't
yeah,
even. They will
seed.
fucking nail. Oh yeah, don't get caught. Well, seeds are weird now with the hemp bill.
Okay.
Although
They'd have to grow them out, huh?
I don't think they're gonna do that.
No.
Because I mean, when does the plant start really building THC in like week 2 or 3 of veg before you could even get anything, right? So they'd have to grow it out, like you said, for 3 weeks.
That's the thing about selling mushroom genetics is what are they going to do? Going to grow it out because it doesn't contain psilocybin for the most part. Depends on
Right.
what it is, but for the most part, it doesn't contain psilocybin. So for one, they're not going to know what genetic it is. It could be anything. And then on top of that, you won't even know until you actually grow it out.
Oh, by the way, you like that lion's mane you just grow out? Enjoy that in your salad. It's really good for
Right,
the brain
exactly.
function.
That's my point,
And
yeah.
they'll be like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, they're not going to grow out every genetic and then hope
Exactly.
it's bad.
And most, I'm sure that if I was a spore-carrying traveling man, I would probably keep a couple like innocuous spores mixed in, like, you know, like in different vials. But so
Sure.
if they randomly looked
Randomly
at something,
pulled one,
you know,
yeah.
maybe you'd get lucky and they'd pull like,
Yeah,
I don't even know
absolutely.
a lot of like shiitakes. I don't know what.
Yeah,
Yeah,
any of it.
yeah.
Oysters, shiitakes,
Yeah.
morels,
Oh, yeah.
chanterelles.
Oh, that was one of the things I wanted to talk to you about. Wild mushroom season is upon us, right?
morels.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
the
right
only
now.
one I'll ever pick because the false one looks so different.
The thing is Oregon had an early bloom this year. So if you're in Oregon, morels are actually out. Now, all the old guys will say, you got to wait another week or 2. No, you don't. Not this year.
If you're listening to this,
It's too
time.
late. It's too late. Yeah, it's time right now.
Yeah, get out there. There might be some left.
Yeah.
Be careful about those guys with machetes out there. Have you
But,
heard
yeah.
about them guarding morel patches out in the forest and stuff?
I wouldn't doubt it, man.
Wild to me.
I wouldn't doubt it because morels are, I think they fetch one of the highest prices.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Especially here in Oregon because a lot of these restaurants will buy them up. But morels are tough because they have to have a tree to grow under.
Yeah.
Or around. So in other words, they have to be in cahoots with the tree roots with I believe a conifer. And so the thing about that is they can be far away from a tree, but they still have to be in some connection with that tree root
Well,
to
they're-
even get the nutrients they need to grow.
Their hyphae have to have a relationship
Mycelium,
with tree,
yeah.
the mycelium with the tree roots, right?
Morels, chanterelles both do. Yeah, that's why you can't really grow them indoors. I mean, there's a place in China that's doing it, but it's more of a hoop house than
Right.
indoors. But there's also a Dutch company that's doing it indoors for morels. I don't know how they're doing it, but I don't know of anybody that's been able to actually grow chanterelles indoors.
Okay.
They still have to be outdoors in cahoots with a tree.
Yeah, isn't that interesting that we've been able to like figure out how to cultivate so many things, but fruiting bodies mushrooms, or something that it's really difficult to figure out.
The one thing about mushrooms is they're so adaptable. So it's like, unlike cannabis, you can steer, you can do genetic steering, but it takes multiple generations,
Right.
To achieve just one or two traits. Whereas with mushrooms, in one generation, you can completely manipulate them fairly quickly, and then the next generation even more.
Right.
And it's just like you can. Right now, I don't think that a lot of people that don't here's the thing. So a lot of these growers know this, or do know it for sure, but people that consume mushrooms or buy mushrooms, especially recreationally, don't realize that all these different kinds of mushrooms you're buying that are psychedelics are really only one mushroom. It's only one strain, really, and that's cubensi.
Psilocybe cubensi, right?
Psilocybe cubensi. So, but what happens is these cultivators over time, especially these old dogs, have mutated and selective bred these things into completely different entities, right? That look completely different.
Weird.
So weird. But it's really only a cubensi. Now, don't get me wrong, as cultivation has improved and been easier, people are doing exotics and wilds now. So there's a lot more wilds and exotics out there, and those are different species. Okay, so
there's one from Africa you told me about, right? That was starting to get cultivated. I can't remember what it was called.
I've got so many in my head, but
it was at the time it was newer. I think by now it's probably pretty. I'm sure 4 or 5 people are cultivating it now.
Sure. And then you got your Oregon stuff, like Oregon has the Azis and the Cyans in the wild.
Right.
I've got those cultures, I'm attempting to grow those out, but man, I'm telling you, wilds are a bitch. It's no different than cannabis, that like a lot of these cubes have been domesticated. Right. Meaning domesticated to a tub or a bag indoors. Whereas like these wilds that are still out there that are psychedelics have not been domesticated yet. So they're quite a challenge to try to get to fruit indoors.
So the wilds, is the reason that you're trying to cultivate them is because they'll have a novel effect or a more intense effect, or kind of all of that?
I believe all of it.
Okay.
So disclaimer on the cubensi thing. Everybody's like, well, if everything is a cube, then a cube must be just a cube. Not really. I mean, every different mutated, isolated strain of cubensi has different effects.
Right.
Mainly because I think they all have different full spectrums of alkaloids, right?
Okay.
Just like with cannabis. So
right.
This cannabis strain will do this cannabis strain will do that. That's because of the full spec benefits of in cannabis it's cannabinoids, but with mushrooms it's alkaloids, but the different combinations. And so, yeah, I believe that wilds have even more capacity for different alkaloids, different tryptamines and stuff. But that remains to be seen. I do know that I've got some cubes that'll knock your dick in the dirt, and then I've got some that'll put you in a nice little comfy bed state. So like,
well, the two that I've tried that and they seemed very different were the UFOs, which were very potent. Like I attempted to try to microdose with them several times and it didn't work. And then the Texas ones, I think they were
those
Texas,
are more mild.
Yeah, those are way more mild, and those I was able to take a lot more of and have a really nice mellow time.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So even though those are both cubensi,
yes,
but totally different effects.
Well, yeah, and even the fruiting bodies have like a different appearance a little
Huge,
bit. Like I would say the UFOs have more of like what I would consider like a more wilder appearance, small stalk, a very
fibrous
UFO, very tough cap with a browner top, and then the Texas are very like almost not quite marshmallowy, but they're very big and puffy,
and they're foamy.
Yeah,
like the texture when you squeeze them, they're almost foamy versus.
I kind of want to chop them up and put them in an Asian soup.
Well, those types of mushrooms, those foamy ones, do tend to be good either with food or
I'm not saying I'm going to do that.
No, I know. But like, I'll tell you that the penis envies and the, not the albinos, but the standard regular wilds, the penis envies, the Melmacs and stuff, they all have this fibrous, like stringy texture to them. It's really weird. I think those are harder to digest, to be honest.
I think I agree with you.
I think those are ones that would cause you more stomach issues than these softer, foamy albinos and stuff.
See, I used to, before I had fruiting bodies that were grown by, I don't know how they were stored initially when I first tried, and they were really dried out. But when I started having stuff that was grown organically, you know, that you cultivated, it was a different experience. I wouldn't say that psilocybe mushrooms ever taste good. I wouldn't use, but there are levels to how bad they can taste. And in my best case scenario, you get kind of a grody papyrus taste, and that's all you get with
papyrus.
Good,
I like that.
But like if you ever chewing on paper, you know, I was one of those kids. You don't have to be. I don't recommend it, but you know, whatever. Chewing on paper, kind of like that. But if they're not stored properly or they're grown differently, I don't know what would cause them, but they get way grody. Like if you're getting them and you don't know the source or.
That's the thing is I've seen some questionable grows, man. And when I say questionable, meaning like I have no clue what the fuck is going on in that cake.
How did that work?
Well, or what else is growing with it? Like I don't know.
Right.
Like to answer your question, I've seen some stuff. That is originally why I got into cultivation, is because I kept seeing these god awful grows from people, and I'm like, ugh.
Well, and I would tell people like, oh, I don't want to grow psilocybe, or I'm not really interested in mushrooms. I don't know if I could keep it clean enough. And for a lot of people, that wasn't ever a barrier.
Right. Oh, I've seen some dudes that are
I don't even know how they're succeeding.
Well, a life finds a way.
Right. Totally.
You know what I mean? Life finds a way. But anyway, so that's my thing, is I didn't, the quality out there was horrible, and I have more control now. And plus, there's a lot of different misconceptions. Like people think you have to grow dung-loving mushrooms on dung, and you don't. And then people say, well, if you don't grow them on dung, then you don't get the big, strong flushes and blah, 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 blah. All that bullshit Facebook group crap. I get so tired of it. It's not true. You can grow in a clean sub. You can grow in cocoa with grain, and it's just as good. You've seen my flushes, man.
Oh yeah.
Y'all can check out my IG.
Second flushes too.
If you think you can get a better manure run, go ahead and send me a picture, and we'll talk about it.
Well, and
we'll do an interview.
That's what I associated with mushrooms growing up, because I'm from Texas, so they grow on cow shit. So
absolutely.
So if people are like, kind of regret not doing this, but I was probably a little young to start my psychedelic journey anyway, so it's probably good I didn't go. But it's a missed opportunity, a missed cultural opportunity. A friend of mine invited me, like, hey, come mushroom hunting with us tonight. Yeah, I just didn't go. I didn't want to. I didn't want to eat mushrooms off of cow shit.
I get it, man. I fucking get it.
And
there's other things in cow shit you don't need.
Right, yeah. And so it was just not something. But now, thinking about having that particular knowledge local, it was kids and older kids from my area who had been passing it down with each other for who knows how long.
Sure.
They've been fine. They've not been dying.
Right.
So it's been working.
Yeah.
And so that would have been really cool. And there's a whole underground psilocybe appreciation like culture in Texas and in the Gulf that is completely underground.
Well, a lot. I'll tell you what, dude, some of the best fucking strains, wild strains that have come out of the States come from fucking Georgia, Florida, and Texas. Bar none.
That's amazing.
Those three fucking states produce some of the best wild mushrooms. Yeah, it's amazing, because in Texas, wouldn't you fucking...
They can't stop it. You can't stop cows from shitting.
No. Well, that's not what I meant. But I mean, in Texas, it's like having cannabis. You don't want to be caught with mushrooms in Texas.
No, God, no.
I mean, you don't want a federal...
Something happens, though, in conservative states when countercultures arise. So, for instance, the punk scene in Salt Lake City or Houston is going to be more violent than the punk scene in LA ever will be.
I see.
If you have a drug scene, it'll somehow be more intense than where it's legal sometimes.
I see.
So I think what happens in a response to that repression, a lot of people buckle under it and they say, okay, we're not going to. And then there's a certain type of motherfucker, and our jails are filled with them. I don't care. I know what is right. I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
and they just cultivate and they pass it around amongst each other, and they keep these strains or, you know, spore prints alive of these mushrooms, and they pass them around and they mail them around to these, you know, back in the day, they were doing all this stuff with zines and mail.
Yeah.
Which is wild to me. And so for folks that are a little bit younger than us, a zine is where you and your friends get together and you make your own newspaper, and then you print it out yourself and you mail it to people. Sometimes literally folded together, stapled 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper. And that's a lot of how early drug cultivation in the U.S., the information was spread. Not only psilocybin, cannabis, opium, and I'm sorry, the little cactus. Peyote. All was kept alive throughout the greater contiguous United States with nothing but zines in the United States postal system.
Yeah.
And people brave enough to spend spore prints through the mail.
Yeah. Well, the DEA has admitted that spore prints are not, spores are not illegal.
Right.
So I don't know about back then, but the DEA has said specifically that spore prints are spore swap, whatever. Spores in general are not, as long as it does not contain psilocybin. Now, I don't think any spores do, but I think there has been studies where they've been able to find psilocybin in spores. But dude, there ain't no fucking cop company that's going to do a major study to find your psilocybin in your spore, man.
Just have Barney eat the whole sheet of paper. If he trips, then we're going to arrest this guy.
Well, here's the deal. See, here's the deal. That's the thing, though, is what are they going to do with the spores anyway? They're going to fucking grow those spores out? It takes 4 fucking months, man.
Oh, my Lord.
To bust one guy? No.
And that's the other thing, that you're talking very small levels of cultivation for a very high return when you're talking about, you know, any kind of fruiting body mushroom. So it's kind of a different thing. Like, whereas cannabis, it's a lot of work, but you don't really see the same return once you become successful at it. I think it's still good margins for something that you produce, like a crop.
Yeah, like a crop. Yeah,
but I don't think there's anything that compares to what can be done with mushrooms. The problem is the market for mushrooms is not as exponential as other markets.
Well, so that goes back to my original point way back when I said customers don't last. So you don't. Mushrooms are not addicting. They're the opposite. They stop addiction, right? So the point being is that it's something that self-corrects.
Yeah.
Like, you do it a few times and you're good. You know what I mean? And
I do.
I don't think a lot of people understand that even for the people that are trying to supply medicine to people, it's not like they're making a ton of money, because customers come and go like fucking flies, because, you know, it's not a cannabis. It's not a fucking addictive fentanyl drug. It's not going to destroy your family. I mean,
over the years, I've bought 5 bags of mushrooms.
Exactly.
And I've never finished a bag.
Right.
I've always given away more than I've
Exactly.
even eaten. The only reason I bought it is because I wanted mushrooms.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one reason why I do like being around mushrooms, is it's not something, and even if you wanted to try to be addicted to it, you can't get high over and over and over again.
I get very tired. I'm tired of being on mushrooms too. Like, I don't, it's
a brain workout.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
I need a day before and a day after usually.
Absolutely. I mean, not for micro, but for a medium macro even. You need both before and after. And it's something you got to plan.
Mm-hmm. And some people want to be fed. Some people want to be fasted. And that's all stuff that you have to figure out for yourself. You know, I like taking them on an empty stomach. Some people, that flips their lid. For me, it makes it easier to put food on top of them than under them for whatever reason. Eating first, never a good idea. After, always fine.
Interesting. It's got to be something with the digestive part.
I have a messed up. I've got it. My front end's messed up. My esophagus is messed up. My stomach's kind of messed up, but my back end is fine. So I usually don't have any problems, other than I'll have like a loose stool the next day, but nothing worse than eating too many hot wings. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I for me though, I do like to crush them up. I do like to either break them up. Sometimes I'll use my grinder. Most of the time, I just make them into capsules because I get zero issues with that. But
I like to earn it. I like to suffer a little bit on the front end, so I like to eat the fruit. If I'm gonna do it, I have to be able to eat all the fruit. So if I want to do the heroic dose, I have to get all this spongy shit into my stomach.
fuck. Oh God.
I know that's weird. I don't know, but see, this is everyone's different, you know. So
To me, you said it's got a papyrus flavor or smell. To me, honestly, psilocybin smells and tastes a lot like a chemi meth.
oh, okay.
Like if you take one of those mushrooms and just, it smells like fucking meth to me.
okay,
Like it's got, and maybe not meth so much as it's got that chemical smell.
right. It's
like
very like stringent,
solvent,
like, burny.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Well,
Anyway,
you gotta. I don't know. You've got the
Lemon
best
tech.
fruits, so I don't know what to tell you. You've got the best fruits, so you're not
Appreciate
going to run into any. Like, I can't tell you how to grow it better. You already know that. So,
appreciate it.
switching things back to cannabis.
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
for a
yeah,
little
let's do
bit.
it.
So you talked about your outdoor harvest. You had kind of mixed results. You had some trellising issues, but from last year, is there anything you've been smoking on particularly that you've really been enjoying more than anything else that you grew?
To be honest, so I still have like 3/4. No, I have about a half a pound of the cheetah piss or cheetah the hut, which is
Right.
a gelato 41 crossed with cheetah piss. I still have that, and then I still have about a 1/4 pound of the gelato 41, and I'll tell you why. I thought I was going to love the cheetah piss one because it's got a very new tire, gassy smell.
Okay.
I thought it was going to be great. And it's good, but on the flip, you got the gelato 41 that doesn't have the smell, but it knocks your dick in the dirt. So you got one that smells and tastes great and doesn't do much. And then you got
Right.
one that doesn't smell, is strong, but looks great, that doesn't have a lot of flavor and it knocks your dick in the dirt. So it's like, I don't know. I like the gelato.
Okay.
And, honestly, I've gotten rid of more of the gelato
Okay.
versus the cheetahs. So, but I still have about a half a pound each.
Okay. So you
Off
definitely
about 4 pounds though.
good. I'm glad it worked out for you. So how's indoor going?
So I got the K45, the 7 of 9, and the Sweet Pink from Second Gen.
Okay.
I'm loving the K45 and I love all those ones actually. They're really good. The Sweet Pink was a freebie in a pack actually.
Okay.
So I threw that in there and it's really cool. Really good. And then I've got the Atlas. I've got both gas faces. And it's really weird with those autos, dude. The one gas face is half the size.
Oh yeah.
The other gas face is twice the size. And it's got this big, the cola on the tall one is like probably that big.
Like as
And-
big
and
as
it's got-
2 liter Dr.
It's got all the
Pepper, or
side
a
colas,
20
right?
ounce Dr. Pepper. Yeah.
But it's got all these, 1 gram nugs around, but then it's got this big fucking just it just
Classic
leans.
auto flower shape almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other one, like I said, is half the size, and I don't understand that.
I had the orange sherbet this year. I boofed it at the end because I got stuck in Denver for an extra day, so one of them dried out too much. So I'll show you, the flower smells good, but it's all like too dry. And then another one dried out in the pot, so I had to try to rewater it, and then most of it rehydrated, but like the secondary nugs were really hay, but the tops were still good. So I had my first mishaps because I'm scared of automated watering systems. I'm going to do it outside this year for the first time.
Yeah,
I'm going to
cool.
try it. I'm going to try to run some plastic out there, so I can go out of town during veg.
Yeah.
I'm going to be at home, all aflower, fuckers.
Yeah, fuckers.
But locked and loaded. God damn it. But yeah. So I'm excited for that.
That's the only thing I don't like about autos is the inconsistent phenos.
Oh yeah, each orange sherbet. One did about 1.5 ounces and was like a foot tall. The other one did pretty well, like as far as yield's concerned, but tasted kind of like shit, like I told you. And then one did like 3 ounces, all over the place.
Yeah, it is, and I don't like that. I find that even with shitty photos, the phenos are more stable.
So I've run into some autoflower packs more recently that have been more stable. All the stuff that I've gotten from Gemseeker. So like I've grown out like several of his planetary gas. They're not big autoflowers, but they're not small either. They yield anywhere from like 1.5 to 2.5 ounces pretty consistently.
Yeah.
They've got a pretty similar structure, nice candelabra with a probably 20 to 30% more dominant main cola. I don't train them at all. And then, like I said, 1.5, 2 ounces per 3-gallon pot, which is perfectly respectable for an auto. I know if you're listening to this photo period, you don't like that.
I get it.
Yeah,
but you're right.
Now, I haven't grown as much of the other stuff that he has, and they're very different outdoors. They do not yield as much outdoors. I would say, in my experience, they yield probably 30% less from what they were going to yield before. Maybe, I don't know. The most I've grown outdoors on an autoflower is like 2 ounces, I think. They're just smaller. There's colder nights, so they're not in their optimum growth for as long. So it's just...
Dude, I figure if you get 3 ounces,
that'd be a good
That's
outdoor.
good.
Yeah, that's
good.
I broke my autoflower record indoor this year with a Blue Eyes White Dragon from Gem Seeker 2, and I think his are a little more stable than most. They're more stable than the 420 Fast Buds, and that's strain to strain too. That's cultivar to cultivar, I think. And then they're more, and I haven't grown enough of Atlas. I've only got 2 freebies from Atlas.
Yeah.
And they said they did what they said they were gonna do. But my main biggest yielders have been from Gem Seeker, and I set a record 4 ounces on one. So I finally broke that.
I've heard 6 is
I've never done
possible.
that. Yeah.
I've never done 6. I don't think I've done 4. But
I weighed it and did the math, and it literally 4.0. I barely barely.
Like, don't dry it anymore.
If I trimmed it a little more aggressively, we wouldn't have made it, bro. I'm not even lying.
But I'll tell you what, I got 2 purple unicorns.
Okay.
And it seems like that's an old school breeding stock for people, but the fucking flowers are gorgeous, dude. They're pink. Flowers, not pink leaves. The flowers are
You
pink.
gotta post that on Instagram, dude.
I'm waiting for him to.
Okay.
Here's the problem.
I have to see that. I love
I'll show it.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I got 2 of them in there.
Oh my gosh.
Really, really tons of white hairs, and then this really bright, deep pink, dude. It's crazy as fuck, and a very GMO smell to it. Really
That's weird because usually anything that shows pink is like sweet or floral smelling.
Or fruity even.
Right.
Yeah. Totally. Anyway.
Not pink pistils, pink, not the pink hairs, like pink foliage. Whoa.
Yeah, the calyx, that's the right word.
Yeah. On the cola is actually pink.
Yeah, the calyx is on the cola.
That's wild.
I thought they were going to be purple, but they are pink, and so I'm really interested in the final product. I hope it stays pink and doesn't turn purple.
Watch it turn into that red shit that people used to talk about.
Anyway, the problem with that one is it's a heavy sativa. This bitch has already got, what's the date? The date is it's the 9th.
Yeah.
So it's been going 65 days. No. Yeah.
Flowering.
69 days.
Flowering for 69 days.
69 days, and it's still got a ways to go. So I'm thinking maybe 90 days on this bitch.
Oh, wow.
But anyway, it'll be the last one in my tent. But I've got the sleeper. Copa Genetics, man.
Really?
Yeah. He sent me a icy grape. And
Okay.
It's a Skittles crossed with Black Domina. Is that how they say that?
Black Domina.
Domina.
I grew out Black Domina.
Well, so talk about a sleeper. I hope he doesn't hear this, but I put that pack away for a while because I'm like, because all the Skittles crosses I've ever grown were shit.
Everyone has rough luck with Skittles.
Exactly. And I'm like, fuck it. I ain't going to fuck up space the next few years with Skittles shit. So I put it aside. But this tent grow, I'm like, I want to see what it can do. Maybe I'll throw it outside. Right? That's what I do is I test indoor and then throw it outside if it's good.
Right.
Well, dude, this thing, fucking hell, man. It has a specific Skittles smell crossed with that Domina smell. I can smell both of them. It's a great mix.
Indica funk, that's cool.
Dude, and the buds are fucking just rock hard. And
so you're running another cut outside of that, right?
What's that?
Are you putting that outside too?
I'm going to run it outside this year.
So you've already got cuts and everything going.
I'm not. Well, I've got the seeds going.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, the beans are popped. I just got to sex them here in a month. But, yeah, that is one of the beds, dude. I was like, fucking hell, I wish I had more of this. Just, you know how indoor is anyway, but just frosty as fuck. The smell and terps are on point for both strains. Compact little plant, purple leaves as they change color. And then you just have to see it, dude.
I'm
Me
looking
and you
forward
were
to
sitting
it.
down with that one.
Dude, that's
Sleeper. Good job, Copa. Sorry I put you aside on that Skittles, but dude, most Skittles are shit.
You know, honestly, like I'm gonna have to bring you some or like something because like the fruit terps. So outside the planetary gas from Gemseeker, it is like definitely gassy and almost chemy, like, but indoors, it's like grapey, gassy. It's like a different kind of fuel and way more candy grape up front. It makes me want. There were these blunts that tasted like Kool-Aid for a while that they don't make anymore because, I mean, honestly, they were trash, but they tasted so good. And I want to take some of this planetary gas and put it in this like candy blunt and just go to Candy Town.
Yeah, I get it.
And
I wonder. I hope it doesn't change it too much. But then it might be a different pheno out there anyway.
Well, that's why I asked if you had a cut.
Dude, I didn't expect it to come. I didn't expect it to come out that good. It was a Skittles cross. I'm like, eh.
Every time I did, I try not to have any expectations for seeds because anymore a lot of them surprise me, either good or bad.
Mostly I get surprised for the worse. So I was really shocked. I'm like, yeah, I wish I would have taken a cut because it's a photo too.
Yeah.
And it's a short, compact, I'm assuming indica dominant the way it looks.
Can you partial harvest and super crop it? Nah, it'd take forever. I don't know. I've never done that.
Oh, like re-veg it?
Yeah.
I mean, I would
It's
have
too
to keep my
late.
tent running, yeah.
Yeah, and then you'd be running. It'd get too hot.
It gets really hot. Dude, that's a problem, man. I'm a diehard HPS fan, but I am so tired of dealing with the heat, dude. So tired of it.
The only thing is in the winter I have to run space heaters.
Oh, well, the winter it's great, but that's the thing that's the only I can only run it from December till about now. I mean, I'm pushing it now with the heat.
Right. I can run I have two 2x2s in my studio, but my outdoor 4x4, the bigger one in my garage, I can't run. And I'm thinking about like,
Do you want my HPS? Do you have some LEDs? We'll swap.
no, I don't want it. Dude, I don't want to learn how to grow indoors again. That's a whole nother different thing. I don't want to do that.
You don't want to grow indoors?
No, I don't want to grow HPS. I have
why?
LED because I never had to learn. I mean, I know that sounds weird, but there's like, because I already have LEDs. I think they'll last for like a long time. I don't know how long they'll last, but I got them a few years ago and they still seem to be fine. I don't see any lights that are out on them.
No, and that's the thing with the HPS. I have to replace that bulb once a year.
Well, right, and it's heat and it's just I don't want to learn. You know how because any kind of technology you use to grow indoors, you kind of learn along with it.
Yeah.
And I'd have to learn light distance again. I'd have to fiddle with it. I'd have to learn
PPFD, VPD.
Looking at the plant looks different under those lights than it does. It even looks different under certain LEDs.
That's the problem, dude. I can't take any good fucking photos for Instagram. Everybody's like, why aren't you showing off the garden? You never show a picture. Yeah, because they all look like shit because they're all yellow. I don't have a good light source. I need to fucking find some sort of good light source I can put in there to take pictures with.
Get like a light ring and shut off the grow light for 5 seconds while you take pictures.
I'm thinking, would that work, you think? That light ring?
Dude, I don't know. I don't have a light ring. I use to illuminate my bong rips from the back. When I'm doing that, I use a lantern that I found.
Okay. I tried a headlamp and that didn't work.
Oh, for that. Yeah, that
Yeah.
won't work. I was like, you could put that right under the bong and work.
The only thing I thought is I could just take pictures as I'm harvesting in natural light, but
You could.
But fuck, dude. That's one thing about HPS. I need a lens for my phone that adjusts for that.
Yeah. I don't. I'm
There's
not
people that have that.
I'm
I've
not
seen
a
it.
pro photographer. I've married myself to like the soft washed out look on Instagram, and people are like, "Is that intentional?" I'm like, "Well, sure." It's all we use a lot of like softer light bulbs rather than LEDs because honestly, we both get headaches. So why
Makes
poke
sense.
the bear? So I use the LEDs in my grow tents, and then the rest of the house is like very like Edison bulb vibe.
Sure,
So,
sure,
it's a
yeah,
very
the warm
soft
glow,
light. Yeah,
man.
yeah.
I get it.
And those put off a little heat as opposed to LED bulbs. They're a little less efficient.
I put those damn LED smart bulbs in the lab, but that was only because I wanted to have to turn on the lights on and off without having to touch anything. When I'm sterile, I don't like to have to become unsterile just to fucking flip a light on or whatever. Yeah.
Well, it's a whole nother game. Like, I wash my hands and stuff before I touch cannabis, but it's a whole different thing. The only time I'm really really clean is when I'm cloning.
Yeah.
I mean, like lab clean. Like, I'm clean. Like, I shower, I wash my hands after I go to the bathroom, but like sanitizing, wearing gloves, rubbing alcohol, everything on my fingers is clean. The scissors are probably dirtier than my hands when I'm cutting clones.
Yeah.
I'm going to do razor blades now. I think I'm going to try it because I've been using, just soft touch Fiskars that are the sharpest ones I have, but I think I'll have a better clone rate if I use like a one-time use like clean razor, fully like drop it in alcohol for a little while and then pull it out and do that, and that's it. I'm going to try that, and if I get 100% rooting, then that's what I'll run with now on. I was seeing what you can get away with. You know how sometimes you try the lazy process first because it might be easier. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't.
Do you use just regular trays to clone in?
Yeah, I use the little Root Riot cubes.
Those are the best.
And I just drop them in those little trays that fit them. And I know some guys turn them upside down so they don't go all the way in. I don't even do that. I just let them drop all the way in. And, after I've had the cuts in there, I dip them in Clone-X rooting gel. I'm realizing there's cheaper things I could buy now or do, but I've been doing with what's worked. And I've always had
I can show you how to make your own.
We'll have to do that. We'll have to talk about that here soon. I'm not going to do it.
It's way cheaper.
I already have it now, but when the time comes, I'll definitely do it. Because I'm probably, if I'm trying to mother, I'm probably going to run out eventually. Mm-hmm. So... And I'm only trying to mother this year because I've never done it before. I'm not even sure if I'm married to doing that, to like keeping around plants. But I'm going to try to do it because everyone's like, why don't you keep that? Why don't you keep that? I'm like, I don't want to, but
yeah, maybe
I should, so I'll try that. And maybe I'll keep one medicinal cultivar around that I really like. But yeah, wait, what'd you say?
No, I was just talking about the cloner. Because the reason I asked
just misting and seedling. Nothing crazy.
And you should know how to do that. Every cultivator should know how to do that. I just am tired of doing it that way. This year, I think I'm going to get an easy cloner.
Nice.
Because I deserve it.
You do. You deserve an easy cloner.
I'm not a good cloner. I'm really not. I'm not a good cloner. I don't get the results that a lot of these guys do doing it the old school way. And so I'm thinking about just dipping down to the easy. You have to
babysit them a lot. You have to miss them 3 times a day.
That's the thing. I think I agree with that. And I don't do that kind of attention.
There's a lot of growers that don't. They have to have, there's certain times of the day that they're available because they have work or whatever. Yeah. And so there's certain things that are harder for people that have like lives that are revolving around more than just cannabis or whatever, or if they have it, like I have a very like lifestyle that maximizes my flexibility. So if I need to miss something at 6 a.m., 12 p.m., and at 8 p.m., or whatever the schedule I've decided, just getting it wet 3 times a day, maybe letting it dry out eventually, but not all the way overnight, because I'm not getting up at 1 a.m. to mist my plants. I do draw some lines. I might do that, but I'm not generally. I'm doing it 3 times while I'm awake. I'll sleep for 8 hours, and then they'll get it right when I wake up. Doing that, I've had a pretty good success rate. The only one that I had fail, I'm almost certain I didn't put rooting gel on it. So those are the ones that failed. And I think if I would have been more patient, it might have eventually rooted, but I'm not going to wait 30 days for something to root. Bye.
Yeah.
I'm putting you out now. I don't know if you're a male or a female. Turned out it was female. Yay.
That's cool.
Yeah. Sometimes I gamble. You can do that when you're doing small batch. And honestly, sometimes when you're looking down the barrel of harvest, chopping one of your plants down would be really sad. But sometimes I overgrow and then I get stuck with a lot of work. You know how that is. Mm-hmm. For me, I think harvesting and bringing it in is more stressful than trimming. Because at least once you're trimming, no one can see it from outside.
You got some PTSD, bro.
I'm traumatized.
Fuck, you need to do a macro dose just for your fucking.
I need to go eat the rest of those Texas mushrooms and lay on my couch and look at my ceiling is what I need to do.
Oh my God, dude. I feel you. I really do.
I don't even feel safe in my house anymore.
There you go. There you go. I think everybody has to go through it though. That's part of being a cannabis cultivator.
I called my buddy Roland Smokes, the guy who taught me, who had me trim, got me into this whole thing initially when it happened. And he's like, "Oh, well, congratulations. You're a real grower now." And I'm like,
yeah,
looking for sympathy, motherfucker. God
no.
damn. He's like, no sympathy. No sympathy in this scene for anyone who gets ripped off. I'll tell you that right now. Because I got a harvest, they'll just laugh at me because I still got most of it down. So like, oh, you got ripped off 2 plants. You're a real grower now.
Well, yeah.
Dudes in this game a while have been ripped off for plants and plants. And they didn't have no 5 pounds to smoke.
No.
Brutal.
And that's
they used to tie people up in their houses and rip them off hardcore.
Oh yeah, yeah. And those guys also had to deal with deer and bugs.
Yep.
And all the other shit that took their plants. But
I have my fair share of bugs growing outside, and anywhere here you're gonna have bugs.
Yeah, I'm just glad that the fucking hemp fields have calmed down, so these fucking aphids aren't so bad. They're out there, and they still have a problem.
Yeah.
But dude,
nothing like it was
like
in
2018.
Yeah,
18 was.
I lost plants to aphids, and it was those. So now the folks, they come in different colors, and they when you
rainbow
when you move to different places, they're different colors. Back home, they're usually red and green.
Okay.
Well, I'd never seen a black aphid, so of course, and you grow cannabis, you're going to see flies, gnats, all over the place.
Yep.
It smells like something they want to get into, so they always really check it out. But I got covered, and I actually had to cut off cannabis and just throw it in the yard.
Nasty, isn't it?
It's
and
bad.
they're sticky. Mm-hmm. You got to watch out for ants because ants will harvest them.
I had them grow off in my dry room this year. I brought in a plant that I thought just had a couple on it.
Over your ceiling.
Oh yeah,
shit, dude.
I'm still. I found. I think the last they were dying around my outlets where it was warm. Mm-hmm. So I had like a power strip, and there would just be like a weird, fucked up looking swirl of dead aphids around. It was gnarly. But because I let the weed dry out with them still on there, they all flew off the weed. Mm-hmm. Weed was great. My drying room was fucked, but the weed was great. They all flew off of it looking for something else to eat.
So to be honest, dude, this is the honest. I'm probably going to get shit for this, but I will, when I harvest, because in this area, if you want to be without like a bunch of sprays and shit, you have to time it right. You have to do it right. You have to spray, say, up until 2 weeks into flower or whatever. You got to leave enough room for all that to go away, but you also got to not leave too much room for bugs, right?
Yeah.
But you're always going to get something like 1 or 2 aphids or whatever.
I've never had a year where I haven't lost at least a couple ounces to some sort of pest.
Exactly. So with that said, what I do is I will, when I do harvest, I always harvest late at night. So I'll do it after sun's down.
Okay.
9, 10 o'clock when it starts to cool off and stuff. And then it should be November, so it should be cool. But I'll wait till late, sun's down, and then I'll harvest and I'll tomato cage them, flip the tomato cage upside down, hang them on the tomato cage in circles going up. And then I set that in my shed overnight and just let that shit fall off. Because no bugs want to stay on that
dead.
On cut, curing,
and
drying weed.
Just one night's not going to gas it off or anything. It'll be fine.
No, and because it's overnight and it's cool anyway.
Well, and here's the other thing. I was drying in my garage. This was the first year I expanded my drying area into my studio.
Yeah.
So in my garage, I'm opening the door constantly. They're getting drafted out, whatever. Yeah. But in my studio, there's just that exhaust fan with a filter, so they're not getting out that way.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So I let them go all night, and by the next morning, all that shit that happens, all the stuff that bails off, has bailed off, and then I bring it in early the next morning, right into dry, and I just dry it appropriately, dry accordingly, 60-60.
Damn, I need to get a shed.
Dry and then cure it 60-60.
I need to get a pre-drying.
But I'll tell you what, it has
shed.
helped me because any of the few aphids or anything that is on there bails off, dude. It's like, I don't want to be on here no more.
The only thing,
and you flip it upside down, and most of those things want to be underneath.
right? So
when you flip it and it starts to overnight, they bail, dude.
right. The only thing that'll stay in there, I've noticed, is those caterpillars. They wait 3 days.
They do, and then they'll.
Yeah, so when you're drying, the first 5 days, if you're doing outdoors, you need to go watch your colas, and you'll catch them coming out, and then you can just clip that cola they were in, and you don't have to. But if you wait until they crawl away and go wherever they go, and then you find their corpses later, you're like following trails with like an LED light to the cola, and then peeling it back.
Yeah,
got to get rid of that one, because if you leave there, it's not the caterpillars, it's their shit.
Yep.
And it turns into botrytis mold.
Yep.
Like that, like so quick. So if you don't get it and that ends up in your jar, you are fucked.
Yeah.
So you got to get rid of that
And a lot
stuff.
of times, I think what you're trying to point out too is a lot of times they make their home inside, so that mold goes from the inside out.
Yeah, you don't see it.
So unless you peel that shit back, you're not going to see it.
So what I was talking about is you peel back the flower and you look where the flower joins the stem.
There you go.
And you'll see little black caterpillar poops. And if it's advanced,
and brown weed, and that mold turns brown quick.
Yeah, and if they've been there for more than, like you said, like 5 days, you'll see brown botrytis
starting
weed, and it'll fall off. It's gnarly. And what'll happen is a lot of times when guys say, "Oh, I've got mold outside," and you'll see spots of botrytis, not whole colas, just spots. It's almost always caterpillars. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. In fact, I would say that I've never had a mold problem outdoors from the weather. I've had a mold problem outdoors from the caterpillars.
So it'll happen, but usually what'll happen is it'll be like a snap, like really cold rain that'll get you. And I hear more about dudes that aren't in the valley, dudes up in the mountains getting caught by mold late in the season, more than I hear it on the valley floor where we're at.
And here's the other thing too, dude, is this is why I like my buds to be 1 and 2 gram dried cured buds.
Right.
Because when they're wet and on the plant, those buds don't tend to get mold. But these dudes that think they got to grow these donkey dicks, which I get it. It looks great. But the dudes that grow those things, you're going to run into mold problems.
I don't care if her back hurts. I just want to see them.
So here's, if you outdoors, if you top enough, it will keep those buds smaller. More, but smaller. And I prefer that. And trust me, if you try it, it's also better in the bag. I hate having fucking colas this big in the fucking bag, and then you're just breaking it up anyway. I'd rather have a full, dense, complete nug like that.
Yeah, I like the big nugs. I like dropping them and they hit with authority and
quarter ounce buds.
And you can always tell the size queens at the table are really impressed. And a lot of times if you've got like a 4 gram stinky really trichome covered nug, it doesn't matter if it's the best weed at the table. Everyone reaches for it.
That's true.
They want to look at the big flower.
It looks good, man. And you're right. A lot of times it will.
Well, and I grow a variety. I grow everything. So I have small. It's just I should look at cola size, but I never do when selecting a cultivar. It's always flavor and medicinal effect before anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go to yield. But yield will come. Or it won't. I've grown some giant outdoor plants that had like 4 ounces on them in the end. That was brutal. But yeah. I don't know how to select for that. I've gotten better I've grown less big plants that had like lighter stuff, so I've gotten better. But I couldn't tell like the listener, okay, here's what you need to select. I just select plants that seem easy to grow, that don't fight me. And I usually try to go for like tighter internodal spacing. And if it freaks out with my grow style, like if it doesn't like me dumping tap water on it, bye. I don't care. I don't care if you're Skittles, or GMO, whatever, bee's knees, butter screeds. I don't give a fuck. If you're gonna if I'm gonna dump
you're
a little
gonna puss out on tap water.
Tap water? You don't like tap water? Wait till it starts raining, bitch. Like what the fuck are you trying to get? Like there are I didn't believe it, but people will tell, oh, this is indoor only. You can't really grow it outside. It's finicky. And I'll start them indoors and they'll be great, and I'll bring them outside and they'll be like the sun does something to them. I'm like, why would you keep this around? I don't care how high it gets you. It's not. There's something that gets you just as high, that tastes just as good that is easy to grow, and you're proving it with your little Skittles cross.
Yeah.
Because Skittles notoriously
It's shit.
hard to grow,
It is.
hard to get it to express.
Yeah,
like
something
some
good.
people can get it to express,
You have to have the cut.
but you found something similar.
Hopefully.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But there's something easy to grow out there. You don't have to negotiate with these terrorist strains that want you to do
act like
oddball
house plants.
things. Yeah, like you need to pH your water, and if I don't get a compost tea on top of dry amendments, I'm not gonna produce.
I know. Yeah.
No,
The
get out of
fucking-
here. Bye. I got an
maintenance.
Afghan cut that'll produce 18% if I piss on it. I don't care. I don't piss on my plants, but you know what I mean. Like,
Sure you do.
yeah, I piss in the yard, so I'm sure some of it ends up in there.
Dude, we're at 135.
Perfect.
Is there anything else you wanted to cover, or we good, man?
I feel pretty good.
I do too.
We talked a lot. We talked about Measure 110, which is something we want to talk about. Yeah, I think that's good.
All right, brother. Well, I think we got a good one.
Yeah, grow weed. It's springtime. Let's do it.
And remember, September 1st. No more drugs, folks.
Party boy summer. Let's go.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and you're welcome for having you.
Hey, yeah, thank you for having me.
It's Todd Wisdom. S&T Records, let's get it. Zecca on the beat. I'm riding, all the homies with me. Yeah, we been getting hella faded. Just like our eyes, we be staying low-key. Vibing out, always staying medicated. I'm riding, all the homies with me. Yeah, we been getting hella faded. Just like our eyes, we be staying low-key. Vibing out, always staying medicated. I'm gonna get lit, take another fat rip off this bomb shit. Can't get enough of it, yes.
If you're still listening, you are awesome. And if you like the Backseat Chronicles, you should share with a friend.